how do I beat IRS examinations at its own game? So here are some of the tactics that we use when dealing with IRS examinations in order to get the best results for our clients. And I'm not necessarily recommending as a layperson that you try and effectuate these strategies by yourself. I'm simply letting you know because I want you to see the playing field in terms of how IRS audits actually work and some of the tactical maneuvers that we use to get the best results for our clients. Again, with an IRS audit, particularly a field audit, you want to make sure that you're handling the situation with an appropriate amount of deference. And usually with field audits, you want to get an attorney involved as quickly as possible. However, here's the way that we handle the situation. Number one, when dealing with an examination issue, we're trying to be at least a step ahead of the auditor. So we're creating a very defined path, and we're trying to lead the auditor down the path that we want them to take. So what this takes is it takes two things. Number one, you need a clear indication on where you're starting at a point in an audit. So number one, what are the facts? What documents do I have available to me? How are my documents going to line up in accordance with the auditor's expectations? Why is the client being audited? What information can I gather about my current situation? Based on the information I have about my current situation, what are the likely outcomes when I get to the end? Am I going to pay a tax liability? How much tax liability am I going to pay? Are there criminal issues? Are there willfulness issues? Are there negligence issues? How much am I looking at in penalties? Who's the auditor? Is the auditor pleasant to deal with from the conversation? Is the auditor not pleasant to deal with? How much of my time is this going to take? How much documents am I going to produce? Am I going to have to submit the client for a summons interview? So on and so forth. So you want to gather all this information up. You want to get yourself in a clear position, and then you want to understand what the next step is going to be and what your exposure is. And then based on these 2 points, you want to plot a path. And you want to kind of map out the audit. So you're going to have sequences in the audit process that you're going to go through. You're going to, for example, have a meeting with the auditor, and you're going to present documents to the auditor. So your presentation should match where you want the goal to be. And then every step along the way should likewise match what you're trying to accomplish. So in some cases, we're trying to not disclose information to the auditor. So we'll do everything we can, even at the risk of making our relationship a little bit difficult with the auditor. We will not tell the auditor everything about a particular course of action, because if the auditor were to discover it, the client will walk into a big problem. One of the other things that we utilize is what we call a Trojan horse. So if we realize that the client's going to get caught in a certain area, then we can use that. We'll offer that to the auditor so they've made an adjustment, and in exchange, we'll focus the attention of the auditor on that particular area and move them around another issue. So the other thing that we do is we leverage our relationship with IRS appeals. So there are different ways to handle the audit. You can either be cooperative, you can be not cooperative. Generally speaking, it's better to win more flies with honey, but at the same point, sometimes you got to be a little tough with the auditor. But you have the appeals division, you have the ability to file a tax court petition, you have the ability to speak with the manager and the territory manager, and you have all these different avenues that you can pursue in order to get the best result. Your end goal may not be through the audit division. You may get your end goal through appeals, and in which case your best move may be to get out of the audit as quickly as possible and correct everything once it's gone to appeals. It's a factual decision. It's based on strategy, and it's based on trying to navigate through the process. But that's the easiest way of moving along, and that's how you beat examination. You have the power in an audit. It seems like the auditor's in control, but they're not. You control the moves. You make a move, the auditor has to make a move. They're constantly reacting, and they're constantly responding to your moves. So that's really how you beat examination at their own game. And again, I recommend that you get an attorney involved for this. The strategy component of it is very, very important in the context of an audit. But by doing some of these things and by treating this as a larger problem, not just step by step, you're going to be more likely to achieve the result that you're looking for at the end of the audit.